habit is how you live. You don't put any thought or effort into it. You just do it. And it can be detrimental when we have negative habits that pull us away from success and away from health and away from happiness.
You're watching Developing Potential with Diana Keuilian.
Hi, friend. Welcome back. Now, on this show, we spend a lot of time talking about ways to develop yourself and things that you can do to really improve your life and develop into that next version of yourself. Well, today we are going to do the opposite. Today, we're going to talk about the 7 habits that you may have that ruin your success. And some might argue can ruin your life and really can block your self-development. So what are the things that we're doing on a regular basis that we shouldn't be doing? So let's dive into it. And we're going to start with a quote from Latso, who says, "Watch your habits. They become your character. Watch your character. It becomes your destiny." And this just speaks to the power of habits. Habits are things that we do so frequently that we no longer have to think about it. It is so ingrained into our routine and just into the way we live. That's what a habit is how you live. You don't put any thought or effort into it. You just do it. And it can be detrimental when we have negative habits that pull us away from success and away from health and away from happiness, right? These things that can just block our success. And of course, the opposite of that is when we have these habits that's just part of how we live, the way we live, that pushes us towards success and towards happiness. And that, of course, is the goal. So first step, let's stop doing these negative habits that are blocking our way. So number 1 habit that is ruining your success is hitting the snooze button. Now, hopefully you've heard this before, but not hitting snooze, waking up at the time that you set your alarm for and beginning your day with, an open heart and with some energy, versus hitting snooze, trying to get a little more sleep, hitting snooze again, trying to get a little more sleep, and then getting up in a groggy, discombobulated state where essentially what you've said when you hit snooze was like, no, I don't want to start this day. No, I'm not open to this day, right? Versus, hey, this is the time we get up, popping up out of bed, bright-eyed, ready to take on the day. Now, that's a really small little thing, right? Waking up when you said you were going to wake up versus hitting snooze a few times and getting up 15, 20, 30 minutes later doesn't really seem like it's a big deal. And it's one of these negative habits that are easy to justify. And then it's easy to not even notice that you're doing it, right? But it really does set the tone for your day. Really, those first few moments when you wake up, what you do and how you conduct yourself sets the tone for your day. And so if we're doing it, we're waking up with such resistance that we're like, no, I'm not getting out of bed. I need a few more minutes. I'm resisting life today. It's a domino that starts to knock down all the other dominoes of your day, and it starts your day off on a negative foot. And so instead, set that alarm, waking up at the same time every day. There's a lot of power in setting your circadian rhythm and just getting used to opening your eyes at the same time every day, jumping up, drinking 17 ounces of water, and starting your day in a healthy way. It's very simple, but it's a powerful thing. Okay, the second habit that is ruining your success is substance use. Now, I've spent many times on the show talking about how alcohol and drug use can really, really block success, can block happiness, and it opens you up to emotional and mental problems and challenges, right? And essentially, when we regularly use substance, whether that be alcohol, whether that be some form of drugs, whether that be cigarettes. We are becoming dependent and addicted to something that then gets a hold of us. And so no matter how you frame it, you're putting yourself in restraints, right? You're putting yourself in some form of jail as it relates to this substance. And the longer you're there and the more that you use, the less freedom you have in your life. And it's one of those things that it's like a very slow, slippery slope of substance use and how it takes up more and more of your mental space. It takes up more of your time. It takes up more, it shapes your life more and more the deeper you get into it. And so just knowing this, look, if addictive substance is a habit, if that becomes part of how I live, this is going to block success. There's much more we could say on that. And if that's the one that you're like, that's the one that I got to work on, then you can look up other episodes of this show or plenty of other resources where you can seek out, like, how can I reduce or eliminate addictive substance use from my life, and watch how amazing how your life will turn around, and just the relief of not being chained down by something that you don't feel like you can control. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Okay, the next habit that is ruining your success and blocking your happiness is not having goals. Now, goals are essential for helping us to move forward in life, and it sets us up for the next thing, right? Without goals, we're just sort of going along. And while there is merit to just happenstance growth and happenstance accomplishment, it does happen. Taking the time to deliberately think of, organize, and then go after goals will accelerate your growth and will accelerate your success in a way that is too great to ignore. And so maybe up until this point in your life, you've been able to just get by with having growth along the way, but not really organizing it into goals. Like, we're still at the beginning of a new year. Like, what are you planning to accomplish this year? In your career, what is your goal? How are you going to push yourself to some next level or to some achievement with your career? And then the same for your health, your fitness level. What is the goal that you're working towards? What is this image of this next thing that you're going after, right? So when we live our life with zero clarity when it comes to goals, we're leaving a lot of things up to chance. And like I said, we can definitely have some growth along the way, but as we get into the habit of setting specific, clear goals as we go, success will come faster. And we will avoid a lot of detours and wasted time and effort. If we know where we're going, it goes back to just having a map, right? Like, where are you going this year? What's the map? Well, the destination is the goal. So let's set a goal. All right, the next habit that ruins your success is negativity. Now, this says everything about your mindset. So if you mess around with having negative thoughts, hanging around negative people, and expecting negative outcomes, this blocks your success in such a way that you won't even realize it. Now, when I think of having a negative outlook on life, I think of putting on like dark sunglasses because it colors everything you see and everything you experience. And it's such a sneaky thing because, if you put yourself around negative people and maybe you consume, the news or different types of content that's also negative, you just start to think that this is the world, right? This is the way things are. Again, you've got those dark colored glasses on, and everywhere you look, it's darker and it's scarier and there's less light and it's heavier. It's almost like this molasses comes in. And so this habit of seeing things negatively is going to cut off your success and really keep you stuck. And talk about like cutting off happiness, right? Negativity is the opposite of happiness. And so how can we hold these two, competing emotions in us, right? Negativity is heavier than positive happiness. And so it's gonna win. And so the opposite habit of being negative is to really keep a positive outlook, have a growth mindset. And when these negative thoughts come into your head, being very intentional to cut them out, being very intentional to then also see the other side, because there's two sides to everything, right? We can always look at the negative and the downside, or we can train ourselves to look for the upside, look for the positive, and if it's the negative that comes into our mind first, find the positive, find the flip side of the coin. And that's a skill set that you can develop, can become a habit. And again, a habit is just how you live. You don't have to think about it. It's how you live. You can really get to the point where negativity is offenseful to you. You feel offended when somebody says something incredibly negative in your presence. And maybe it's not about you. Maybe it's about the weather or something that's happening in the world. When you're so used to looking at things with positive expectations and looking for the good and everything, when you see others and experience others doing the opposite, really honing in on the negative, you will viscerally feel a aversion to that person. And when you get to that point, like, I've trained myself to really avoid the negative. And that's going to help you move forward towards success. Okay, the next habit that ruins your success and blocks your happiness is a sedentary lifestyle. And so what do I mean by that? Not exercising, not fitting fitness into your life as a habit. And again, a habit is just how you live. So using your body, working your heart and your lungs and your muscles needs to be part of how you live. And why, right? Maybe you're not a fitnessy person, or maybe you're like, I don't really like fitness. It's not about fitness. This is about you keeping your body in good shape so you can live well, so that you can have longevity, right? So that you can have good use of your body. Every single day we get older. And, the saying goes, you use it or lose it. And that's a saying for a reason, right? The more that you use your body just as a way of life, challenge your body, right? Push yourself, really hold this expectation to maintain a certain level of fitness for yourself, because you know that the clock keeps ticking and you keep getting older, and you want to have that functionality. You want to be able to go after all the other things in your life that are important. This is the vessel that we live in, right? This body that we have is the vessel that carries us through the world. And so I want you to really drop that idea of like, I'm not athletic, I'm not a fitness person. Like, you're a human with a body, you're a fitness person, right? This is your vessel. And so dropping the habit of just having a sedentary lifestyle, and it's really easy to get into this habit. And let me tell you, these days where I have to commute several times a week and I have class late at night and I have long hours, like, I understand how easy it is to just push fitness off to the side and to tell yourself, I don't have time for that. We really cannot afford to not have time for that, right? Like, making it this habit and this priority to take care of our physical body. Okay, the next habit that ruins our success and blocks our happiness is not learning. So, you graduate high school, maybe you graduate college, get whatever degrees you're going to get, you start living life, you're an adult. It's so easy to take ourselves out of this learning sphere, right? This mode of opening our minds to new information and to learning, right? To staying in the seat of the student. And, there's so many ways to learn. You don't have to be in a classroom setting. You don't have to be pursuing a degree to be learning. And one of the things I love about, living in the world at this time in history is how much information is at our fingertips and how simple it is to go on YouTube and you can learn how to do anything, right? And one of my favorite things is listening to books on Audible. And you can listen to any subject and just get your mind in the habit of opening to learn, and then it's going to start to retain more. And I can very specifically remember my first few weeks of graduate school where I felt like I needed a crowbar to open up my mind, and I had all these readings to do and tests to study for, and it was like sluggish trying to get it going, to get this influx of new information, learning just as an action that we get used to. And just the fact that you're listening to this podcast, you have your mind open and you are learning, right? And so it's an action, it's a habit that becomes part of how we live. This openness to new information that continuously opens our mind to new ideas and new knowledge and information, and it just expands how we see the world. And so having the habit of I don't learn, right? I'm done with school, so maybe the media that you consume is more for entertainment purposes or news related versus learning, taking on a new subject, digging deep on something that catches your interest and just keeping that learner alive in you. Okay, the final habit that is ruining your success and blocking your happiness is not being grateful. So living with a lack of gratitude. And this is similar to, living with negativity, but it's blocking the gratitude that you naturally have inside of you for all of the amazing things in your life. If we really spend any time at all trying to think of all the good things in our life, the list is endless. There's so many things. When we open that part of our heart to gratitude, it perpetuates, right? And we did a whole episode on gratitude around Thanksgiving on how just there's so many gifts that we give ourselves when we live with gratitude, and it perpetuates the goodness in our life, and it attracts more of it. And it's a gift to all of those that you interact with and everyone in your life when you're living and interacting with them with a heart of gratitude. And so when you don't do that, when we do the opposite, and we are just thinking about what we don't have, or just thinking about what we wish was different, right? It's so easy to get into that mode where all you see is what you don't have or what's gone wrong, and you're not feeling grateful for what's right in front of you. And so, my friends, I'm going to go through these really quick just as a recap, these 7 habits that ruin your life and block your happiness. The first one is hitting snooze in the morning and rejecting the new beautiful day in front of you. The second is getting really wrapped up in substance use and allowing that slippery slope to kind of pull you away from your goals, pull you away from your life's mission. The third one is a lack of organized goals. Living your life kind of happenstance and just expecting things to move forward without really being organized and articulate about this is what I'm going to do, being specific and seeing what you want to do next. The fourth one is living with negativity, putting on those dark glasses and seeing the world as a negative, darker, danker place than it really is. The fifth one is having a sedentary lifestyle, not taking care of this vessel that you live in, right? Telling yourself you're not a fitness person, so you don't have to work out. Letting your body degenerate, because that's what it does. Every year that you get older, your body is degenerating unless you fight against that, right? Unless you work it and push it, use it. The sixth one is not learning, right? You're out of school, you're an adult. What do you need to learn for? Opening your mind to new information and learning new things, taking a class, going after a degree, listening to an audiobook, something to open that learning part of your mind and to never let it shut. And the seventh habit that ruins your success is not living with gratitude. Because friends, there's so much around us to be grateful for. And I am grateful for you. So thank you for joining me today. I hope this has helped you just kind of look at the habits that you have in your life, realizing that habits are the way you live. But we can intentionally shift the way we live by shifting our habits. And while it takes about 30 days to really get a habit going, to make it part of how we live, it is well worth the effort when we do it with this intention of moving towards success and to opening ourselves to happiness and connection. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed the content. Please subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Like it if you liked it, and drop me a comment. And I will be back next week with another message.
Thanks for watching Developing Potential with Diana Keuilian.